I'm sure you listened to the 5 o'clock news yesterday
Indeed.
and heard Casey Hilton talking about some of the changes you would like to see from a constitutional perspective as part of the reform process underway. The reform committee set to submit some recommendations to cabinet, after which consideration will be given, decisions made, and the suggestions way forward will be submitted to Parliament for approval. Firstly, in a country where, not just a country, but in a world where it is fashionable to disrespect people, especially people you disagree with, I am saying upfront that I have the world of respect for King's Counsel Michael Hilton. If you talk to the lawyers who have experience, who are in the know, and you ask them about the best courtroom navigators in Jamaica, to a man or a woman, they'll tell you that Michael Hilton is among the very, very best. And he is more than an outstanding advocate. He's a great man all around, from all indicators. And when people like those make considered opinions on the way the country is governed, the systems that exist, you have to treat what they say with respect, because it's not coming from a weak place. It's not motivated by the desire for cheap thrills or to say, look at me in this moment. Never attention seeking, always considered. So it's a good place to start. Now, I'm not critiquing his presentation at that forum on Tuesday, just to say that something he mentioned caught my attention, because from time to time we hear people speak about the powers of a prime minister in a Westminster system and the curbs that ought to be put on the powers of a prime minister. And often, those people often suggest that in many areas where the prime minister exercises power, that power and that authority to make the decision ought properly to rest with a committee. There's a feeling, especially among those who are learned, that decision making by committee is superior and better in every respect compared to decision making by an individual. Now, they'll never say it out like that, but that's the implication of the ideas that come from them, the ideas that they germinate, the ideas that they put on the table, the discussions that germinate from those ideas. Let a committee do it. I have a problem with that, because at the basis of this, let a committee do it, is an assumption that a political actor, as a prime minister is, prime minister can't come from the Senate, and even so, would still be a political actor because they'd still be appointed by a political actor. That a political actor is motivated by things that could cause them to not necessarily make the best decision in the interests of the people, but rather that partisan considerations trump the considerations for the good of the people, and that to get away from that, it is best for a committee to be in a position to make certain decisions, to make certain appointments, because there's safety in numbers, and it is just better. I don't believe that. When you look at the fact that, yes, we don't vote directly for a prime minister here, even though we do, because the decision we make ultimately rests on who we want to lead the country, which party we want to lead the country. There are people who vote for their party, even though they don't like their party leader. But put my party in, they're comfortable with that. And then other people say, well, the fact that you don't vote directly for your ultimate political representative, your ultimate political leader, is a black mark against the democracy, because the leader ultimately should be the one selected by the majority of the people. And I've often asked myself, so where in that reasoning is selecting the leader in that way going to translate into superior governance? I don't see it. The United States, they elect a president directly. Does that make the United States a better governed place than somewhere where there's a system like ours, where the prime minister, who, based on the majority caucus, they write a letter to the governor general saying this man or this woman is going to be your prime minister and please give them the necessary assent, and they get that? No. And the fact is that if you voted in an election, in a direct election for your president, and you vote for the candidate who lost, what are you to do? Not support the incumbent, not abide by the decisions made by the incumbent because you didn't vote for him? So notice where I'm going. I'm trying to stretch the narrative to cover the issues that ultimately inform this argument about government by committee. So take, for instance, the appointment to some key posts. People say that certain appointments should not be in the gift of the prime minister. Remember again, prime minister, leader of the majority party, has voted. The MPs in that party say this person should be the prime minister. They get the benefit of that support. So it's almost like the support from the people translates through their representative to this individual who's prime minister, and they're empowered to make the decision. Again, I am comfortable with that setup in a country like ours. But the appointment to key posts, people are saying, well, let this committee make that appointment. Let that committee make that appointment. And I'm saying that I am yet to be convinced that a decision by committee, for instance, to appoint the Chief Justice, is likely to be less contentious and, greater than the contention around it, result in a better performance from the Chief Justice, or to make it more palatable with those who are under the spell of the Chief Justice's actions. How is doing it that way superior in every respect to a prime minister making that appointment? And we can't escape it, because this country, given its size, given its history, partisan politics is in everything we do. It is true, you only hear this argument about making these kind of changes when a certain party is in power. It's a fact. Because it's almost as if, look, one party is responsible for setting Jamaica's political status quo. When they are not in office, to wear the cloak that they have sewn for themselves, and someone else wears the cloak, all of us in here say the sleeve them too long, the collar them no put on properly, we need to change the number of buttons on it, we need to take off toward the front pocket and put the pocket around the back, we need to slit the back, all of those things. All of us, the cloak just doesn't look good now, the cloak doesn't fit. When a certain party is in power, all is well, all is comfortable. And so I'm saying, where in any democracy in the world, democracy, is decision by committee shown to manifestly be superior to a decision by an elected official? It's a cheap argument to say, well, you know, we don't vote directly for prime minister. So, in other words, the decisions that the prime minister make, you know, they are not all encompassing, they're not binding. Well, somebody will say, well, me never vote for no Chief Justice. Me never vote for so-and-so in that office. I never had any say in who was appointed to a committee. So why is it that my decision, reflected in what I did at the ballot, is being given to a group of individuals motivated by various things, when the direct line of what I selected when I went to the ballot to exercise my ultimate authority, that is being set aside for a committee. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be converted. I'm willing to be taken from the dark side if you think I'm on the dark side. How does governance and decision making by committee trump governance and decision making by an individual as we've practiced it? Tell me.